So hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm Tiffany Service Gustafson, a digital strategist here at BWG Connect, and we are a network and knowledge sharing group. We stay on top of the latest trends, challenges, strategies, whatever it may be that is changing in the digital landscape that we all live in and love. So we are on track to do almost 500 of these virtual events this year due to the increase in demand to better understand the digital world. And we are on track to do almost 100 in-person small format dinners. So if you happen to be in a tier 1 city, definitely shoot us an email. These dinners are typically small format, like I said, 15, 20 people talking about a specific digital topic. So we'd happy to have you, and we'll send you an invite if you're interested. It's from these conversations that we generate topics that people want to learn about and what we know to talk about for our next calls. And it's also how we get our resident experts, such as Klee, who's here today. So welcome, Anna. Anybody here that we have teach the collaborative, we want to ensure they're highly recommended, and they are from the brands that we work with within the community. So if you ever have any need for any recommendations on any service providers within digital, definitely feel free to shoot me an email at Tiffany, Tiffany at bwgconnect.com. We can set up a time to chat because we have a short list of the highest recommended service providers within the digital industry. So no need to go to Google, start from scratch, doing your homework. We got it covered for you, and we'd be happy to share that information. And also, we know a lot of people are hiring right now. So do note that we do have BWG talent, and I'd be happy to put you in contact with their team as well. So like I'd said, we are going to start 3 to 4 minutes after the hour. So rest assured that we will end 3 to 4 minutes before the end of the hour. That'll give you ample time to get to your next meeting so you won't be rushed. So with that, let's roll and start to learn about user-generated content and how lifestyle photography can amplify your brand. The team at Klee has been great friends and supporters of the network. We're going to kick it off to Anna. And if you can give a brief introduction about yourself, about Klee, that would be great. And we can jump into the information that you brought today. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you again, everyone that's on the line or again, watching on demand. I'm really excited to be here and represent the fabulous team of Klee. So my name is Anna. I am the Director of Product Marketing. Today we are going to be covering New Year, New UGC. Hopefully that's the last of the New Year puns you'll hear this year. But so a little bit about Klee. So we help brands accelerate their e-commerce sales with testable creator or user generated visual content. So when you hear content, sometimes that's in the form of blogs, review, text, what have you. This is includes reviews, but also specifically visual content produced at scale. We have an awesome group of pre-vetted creators, a really large marketplace of individuals that we have personally vetted and ensured that they're aligned with who our customers want to work for. A lot of our customers are, as I mentioned, in the e-commerce space, particularly beauty, fashion, healthcare, in terms of vitamins and supplements, kind of runs the gamut there. But what is really awesome about Klee as well is we do provide tons of creative assets, from videos to photos to product reviews, custom to our customers' specific brands in as little as just 4 weeks. So that's really the big differentiator, is that we have those connections of those creators that have that influence as well, but also can provide that at scale. So that's enough about Klee, but if you do have questions, I don't think I put my email on here. Again, anna.charity@Klee, Klee, if you have any questions.
And if there's any questions along the way, drop them in the chat, the Q&A or the chat. I'll be moderating both and we can get them answered. Anna, one quick question is, can this presentation be shared after the webinar?
Yes, absolutely. We are recording this and we will share it out, I think, within 24 hours. So absolutely available to whomever wants it.
Perfect.
Awesome. So what are we covering today? So many of you are probably familiar or maybe familiar. I don't want to make any assumptions with user-generated content, but we'll really get into what is that. Why is it super beneficial? Why is it having this massive gain in popularity over the past 3 years? The different types of user-generated content that are available. I kind of spoke to some of those up front, but where you can really include those, what channels are super valuable, and where you can see the highest ROI, return on ad spend, all of that good stuff, depending on what your KPIs are as a marketer. Most importantly, I think in the past, creative has been very much of a subjective decision, a gut instinct, not very data based. So we're really trying to help brands and empower them to test that content. And we'll get into what that looks like again more, but how to really uncover the winning creative based on data. And also 3 myths that people typically hear about user-generated content. So these are actually objections we have specifically gotten from our sales team, and things we just happen to hear in the industry frequently. Okay, so what is user-generated content? Hopefully this isn't too redundant for anyone, but UGC, it is mouthful, so I'll be referring to it as UGC, also known as creator-generated content, CGC, is really any type of content. So that could be text, videos, images, product reviews created by consumers versus exclusively by the brand. So if you think of a beauty team, they maybe have someone in-house, they might use an agency. A lot of our customers are agencies as well. It's a way to really get the more lifestyle imagery, as you see here, at scale to also incorporate into different pieces of your marketing strategy. So as we know, different leads, prospects, customers want to be communicated with differently at different stages of the funnel. This is no different. Creative content just resonates differently based on if you're viewing a landing page for the first time versus you are organically going to their social media page. So why is this important? According to Nielsen, 92% of consumers find UGC content to be more trustworthy than other types of advertising. Again, there's a time and a place for those really stylized, produced shots. We're not saying get rid of that. We're not saying get rid of your agency by any means. It's just incorporating that more humanized approach. And you can do that in a variety of different ways as well. So when researching for a new product, so again, it could be a vitamin, skincare, a luggage, a piece of athletic gear, a grill utensil, you get the idea. Who do you typically trust more? So maybe it's the brand itself, or maybe it's more of a fellow consumer that really feels more authentic and resonates more with you. Maybe you feel more represented. That's really how UGC and again, CGC can really be beneficial to your strategy and bringing that more human-like approach. Especially now in the pandemic, it can feel sometimes a little tone deaf if you're going through and you don't see yourself represented anywhere. So I think that's really important to again, not just make that gut instinct, but test against the more stylized produced images versus lifestyle. All right. So again, just to lean in a little bit more into what those benefits are. So I've touched on many of them, but brand authenticity. So feeling that sense of trustworthiness and credibility with that brand is really key, which also kind of leads into the next point of competitive advantage. So ensuring that you remain current, and I don't love the word trend, but on trend, fresh, especially as new channels are emerging like TikTok. You can repurpose images, of course, but there are certain, trends that may get a little stale. So it's worth just, again, testing that out and consistently making sure you have the data to prove what is resulting in the highest, again, ROI, return on ad spend, impressions, engagement, followers, whatever that looks like for you. It's something that UGC can really accelerate. Diverse content representative of your target market. So a lot of times when these consumer brands are serving several, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a consumer brand, it could be a service, it doesn't matter. When you're serving such a variety and broad array of customers, even if it's as niche as women in their late 40s, that you still need diverse content within that segment. So being able to ensure that diversity in terms of age, ethnicity, style of photography versus lifestyle is really important. And again, it resonates with different markets and different personas in different ways. So again, going back to that testing component, I think 5-10 years ago, you didn't really need that. And now you really do to be successful in marketing. And I think we see that now really bleeding into that creative visual, previously a question mark. And then lastly, this is really big for, performance marketers that are a little more maybe metrics driven. But you need to have, you have to prove your ROI as a marketer. A lot of times you're dealing with limited resources. So including user-generated content and, again, testing that to know what yields the best performance and the best results are what is going to really optimize those campaigns. Awesome. So where are the different places you can use this? So awareness, top of funnel campaigns. Again, UGC can really be scattered throughout your integrated marketing strategy. So maybe you are a brand that's tapping into a new market, or, you're expanding into a new retailer, whatever it might be. You can utilize different UGC assets to optimize that. So you'll see here, digital ads are really great for UGC. So again, in the age, especially since the pandemic, we're all on our phones. I hate to say that. I hear that in every webinar I'm on, but we're all on our phones. We're all experiencing with these different social tools. And it's really important and crucial to have this concept of scroll stopping ads and ads that really feel authentic and organic to you. And I mean, I always say personally, I love getting targeted Instagram ads. They're geared towards me. I can see, I'm exposed to new products, things like that. So I think we've come a long way, for better or for worse, in terms of personalizing ads. A lot of times, you might want to include UGC for, again, back to a new product unboxing, or really working with different groups of folks. So it might be, creators that do have a ton of following, lots of followers, and they are very influential, but they also have that engagement component as well. You don't want to just look at those vanity metrics. It's not going, depending on your use case, it typically is not going to yield the results that you ideally would try to go after in terms of those KPIs and how you define ROI. Again, they're just that vanity metric. So really important to look into incorporating that UGC. I know a lot of brands, again, within the past 2 to 3 years are really just now getting into it. And there can be, and we'll get to this at the end when we talk through some myths, but there can be that big misconception surrounding the fact that, oh, this content's great, but I have all these different channels and I need to, as I keep saying, I need to test this. I need to know it's doing well. And I don't want to have banner blindness. I don't want these assets to get stale. Sorry. So you really have to have a ton of content. Again, whether it's professional in-house or you go after, folks that are using your product in a great way. Maybe you follow the hashtag, whether you do it manually, whether you use Klee. It's just very, again, imperative to have that diverse content.
That's super interesting. I just have one question, maybe we'll get to this with the slides, is if you're a brand and you haven't gone down this road yet, and you do want to build everything that you stated out, if you want user-generated content, but you need the users to actually generate it, is it mission critical that you have to get that influencer component off the bat? Or are there other opportunities outside of that you could work on to get that user-generated content to get people interested about the brand that you're throwing to market?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. It depends on your goals. Again, if you're trying to, tap into a new market, and you're not necessarily specifically trying to gain a ton of followers, but you're really trying to get that engagement and sales across your brand, I would recommend getting very targeted and personalized into who your customers are and working with them. Again, recommend going at it through a more automated approach via Klee. We can help you produce that at scale versus the one-to-one looking at hashtags. But influencers definitely have a great use case, but a lot of times their results can kind of fall flat in terms of moving the needle for revenue and growth.
Got it. And just a reminder, anybody joining, please put in the questions, comments in the Q&A or in the chat bar, and I'll be fielding through them. I do have another question about the awareness side. Is that when you couple in the idea of a promotion to amplify the awareness?
It absolutely could be. So if you wanted to do some form of promotion, you could definitely do that. We have, in terms of Klee's product, integration with Shopify. So basically, if you wanted to ship that product out, it's really easy for our network of creators, again, that we've pre-vetted and that you've decided on, to choose the products that you've already decided as the bulk there out of the catalog. And then they're able to, Shopify automatically ships that product. It's all tracked down to that SKU ID. And so that does take the middleman out of it in terms of working with shipping and handling and processing and all of that good stuff. So for a promotion, it's a great use case to incorporate user-generated content. And there's lots of different ways you can do that, again, through reviews beforehand. So sometimes before you launch into a new market, you might not have those reviews yet. Or you launch a new product, you might not have those. So it's really great to be able to work with creators beforehand to get those genuine, authentic reviews before going into market.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Great questions. And then, of course, as you move along down the funnel, consideration. So again, looking at those product reviews is huge. Different lifestyle UGC on product pages, including UGC and less stylized produced photography within abandoned cart emails and digital campaigns. Our customers tend to see awesome ROI there. So again, every step of the funnel, it's a great place to include it. It just depends how you want that perceived, what channels it performs best in. Whether, again, you're not going to use the same content you use in TikTok, in Facebook within your TikTok. It's all going to depend on channel. And different creative is going to resonate based on where you're really pushing that asset based on promotion, unboxing, new product, trying to expand into a new target market, whatever that tends to be for your brand. What's also really great about using UGC, again, for whether it's display ads, paid display, top of funnel versus retargeting display ads, regardless of what it is, the status from Shopify, ads that include UGC receive 4 times higher click-through rate. And again, that depends on your business. And you always want to test it. We always go back to that. Here at Klee, we never say, just trust your gut. There may be one image that personally it looks gorgeous, and then another that may be a little more fuzzy that happens to perform better. And you can make those decisions, but it's just all about knowing what creative is really doing the best and winning the most sales for your business.
What is the shelf life for user-generated content?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it will vary depending on your method. Again, I keep mentioning the manual method of having to go one-to-one. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, a lot of times if folks are trying to get reviews or trying to get approval on a really awesome user-generated photo, someone at their company will typically go to those pages and just say, hashtag this if I can use that. Or if they'll do a promotion, they'll say, hashtag this, and there will be a chance that we'll feature your photo, that type of thing. A lot of times, if you are working with creators, they will have limited or finite rights in terms of how long you can actually use that photo. So from the legal side, Klee actually works with those creators. We pre-vet them, as I mentioned, and make sure that they, hold up to our standards. And we work through all the agreements for the customer. With that being said, it gives our customers rights to those photos into perpetuity. So photos, videos, reviews, our customers own them. You can use them wherever you want. So in terms of shelf life, from a legality standpoint, that's what that looks like. In terms of, like trends and images becoming stale, it's all about having a ton of really diverse, good, and good can mean lifestyle, like what you see here, or highly stylized, produced, professional photography feel. It can really vary, but having a really good inventory of photos, videos, reviews that you can use to fuel your campaign and kind of swap those out. Because I mentioned before, as consumers, we do experience the banner blindness, and we do, get tired of seeing the same thing all the time. So it's really important to continually cycle through those. And the best part is you can be really sustainable with those assets and recycle them across. Again, doesn't work to mix and match across all channels, but do the testing, see what works, see what's converting. And a lot of our folks, and again, regardless of the method you take, you can take these images and videos and pipe them into your paid ads or pipe them into your blog posts. So beyond just what I've listed in the 2 previous slides here of awareness, consideration before purchase, there's so much you can do as a brand marketer or performance marketer, digital marketer, to really test these assets and have fun with it. Swap them in and out, see what performs best. Is it, a lipstick laying on a beautiful table or someone holding a lipstick? Playing around with that and seeing what performs for your brand and your audience.
So the testing is consistent and constant. And you just have to keep learning and recording and acclimating very quickly. Going back, because everybody obviously ROI top of mind, and how do you measure this? And when you look at the influencer experts and you have these sites that are focused on that base of service, do you have any metrics on working with those sites versus a traditional online retailer that is using influencers on their site?
Yeah. And let me know if this answers your question. I'd say businesses that are primarily influencer focused typically just want followers, whereas other brands that are focused more on how it actually impacts revenue, that's going to be more so looking at things like engagement rates versus impressions. So as a marketer, of course, all of those pieces come together, but I'd say the key metrics to look at are conversion rates, return on ad spend, click-through rates for emails. Of course, email is a very significant channel. Click to open rates. Those are some of the bigger ones that we see, in the space that they're measuring. But yeah, ultimately it comes down to sort of working backwards of my goal is impressions. My goal is engagement. My goal is, meeting this return on ad spend or, lowering my customer acquisition cost, depending on the stream of like where you want to pipe this content in based on the channel. And then sort of working backwards from there to set those KPIs. One other thing I'll just say, not to plug Klee or anything, but our team specifically has marketing consultants that work with our customers ahead of time and then throughout the process. So basically they would say, what are your goals? Oh, you're launching a new product into, the European market. Here's what we can do for you. This is where we've seen success. These are your goals, very catered. So that will vary, but really crucial to outline where you're trying to go before you start. Because again, you're not going to want to just take one image and use it everywhere. You won't get a high ROI. And it's going to impact, brand perception as well.
Mm-hmm. Great call out. So a key takeaway is define success in your strategy up front. And really, what is that? And then that brings your pathway of like, okay, what is the best platform, influencer, et cetera, of what you need to do that test.
Yes.
that's not defined in the beginning, it's going to get very gray very fast. And I've seen that from my own personal experience.
Yes, exactly. I would say it's kind of, it can be a moving target of, hey, this is where we're trying to go, but we might pivot as we move along. But again, defining just, are we looking at, typically what we see marketers are either tied to metrics that are more, top of funnel. Sometimes they own the whole funnel if they're, a CMO. So that might vary. But as much as you can, working with those corresponding teams to outline, this is what we're trying to get to. And then again, Klee is very beneficial in working with our teams to make sure they get there.
Another question before we go.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions, which is fantastic. So everybody keep it rolling because this is awesome.
I love it.
This question resonates for me because I am guilty of doing this, of having old content. It rocked. We put it away, we file it, and then we maybe wait 6-8 months and we're like, oh, can we bring it back? Or is that bad form?
I don't think so. And again, the numbers don't lie. So I would say bring it back, maybe in a different form. Maybe you try it in a different channel to some extent, try different copy. Maybe you put an overlay on the photo. I think that's totally fine, especially like you said, 8 months, 6 months. I think it's great to just continually test. I'd say at minimum, every 6-ish weeks. And it again, I hate to say that it depends person, but definitely, for example, a lot of marketers may have evergreen campaigns, so they know what's coming, or maybe something's more seasonal. There's a variety of ways that you can kind of work that into the content in a fresh way without making the consumer feel like, oh, I just saw that. And also ties into testing, but making sure you're also trying out different audiences. Don't assume just because you've set your audience, don't set it and forget it. Try different things, A/B test it with different audiences within your target market and see what works.
Fantastic. Since we're talking about KPIs, again, hot topic. Yeah. When you're looking at Instagram, what KPIs do you focus on?
With Instagram, I think it's typically followers, impressions, and depending on if it's paid or organic. And then also if you're selling products through your Instagram and you're using Instagram Shop, then click-through rate and conversion rate and return on ad spend. Mm-hmm. So again, like 6 different metrics.
Magic number 6.
Yes.
Thank you.
So getting back to this, I just wanted to make sure. I think we answered all the Q&A, all good to go. So again, don't want to sound like a broken record here, but just really drilling into the importance of testing creative. So you can test copy in an ad, you can mix up the CTA, and that's pretty easy to identify what's the top performer. Again, creative has historically been a little gray, lacking that visibility. So really important to test that regardless of the campaign. So this was particularly within an email campaign. It was an abandoned cart email campaign. And we have 2 different options. One on the left, a little more stylized, versus the one on the right that feels very, shot by an iPhone and a little more human-like, if you will. Turns out that even though email on the left is great, it only had a 3% click-through rate, whereas the email on the right had a 71% click-through rate. So had this business not tested that, they may have just said, well, obviously, the product is front and center on the image on the left. The one on the right's a little darker. You just never know. And again, that's why you can't really be subjective when it comes to your marketing campaigns. Every element needs to be on brand, but also very much data backed as much as possible.
Very interesting.
So in terms of where did this come from? Because it did kind of feel like it came out of nowhere. So pandemic definitely had an impact, but it started, a little before then, around 2019, which is sadly 3 years ago now. But what sparked that massive spike in UGC across digital campaigns? So definitely the expansion of digital platforms. As we know, TikTok came in fast and furious. Brands are very eager to get in and experiment with TikTok, but no one, really knows the best practices and how to collect that video. Who does? Your customers that are already either using your product or a similar lookalike target market that fits who would be your ideal customer profile. And so again, targeting them on the channels where they're at, meeting them with that diverse creative, depending on where they spend their time. That expansion has been huge. So across Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, it's been, blowing up over the years. So because of that, it also goes down to sort of the third point, and I guess second, people are on their phones a lot more. They're on their phone, they're on their iPad, everything is very accessible, everything is mobile friendly. And so advertisers and marketers and brands and agencies have to get really competitive in their creative and make sure that they have this concept of scroll stopping native ads that just pop into their feed. Like I said, I personally have gone down a spiral. So it definitely is something to build that trust and authority, especially in a time when we all are very skeptical. So whether, again, it's a photo, a video, a review that we're trying to vet a product for and its authenticity, UGC has just been really prevalent over the past couple of years.
A couple more questions that rolled in before we get to the myths, which I think everybody is very anxious to hear about them, myself included.
I love it.
Do you have any recommendations for repurposing or maximizing the UGC in an email push?
Interesting. This is giving me a lot of good ideas for content that my team can help, thought leadership content.
It might be the new trend that we talk about here next time. It might be on this
I know.
slide.
I love that. I would say yes. So I don't want to give any spoilers. So Klee is working on ways to really automate the way that you test images and across different channels. So I'll tease that's coming very soon.
Exciting.
Very exciting. So more to come there. Aside from that, I would recommend having just that bank of images and working through with your email provider. So whether it's Klaviyo or, MailChimp or whatever it might be, working with them to incorporate that into your A/B testing strategy. And I believe there's a way you can set limitations on the images the time frame that they're in the test. So that would be my recommendation is I would say curate it all. If you decide to use Klee, if you're using Klee, we have the content library. We have everything managed for you. So you can, export what you need. You have everything right there. Beyond that, you can gather all of the images, again, whether they're Klee specific, whether you're not using Klee and you're getting them from social, your agency, your professional photo shoot in-house, whatever it is, collecting and curating those in one spot, and then just incorporating them into your digital strategy.
Awesome. And then this question ties into, well, in the beginning, what's the reason to get them talking about you? Okay, challenge number one. I guess the challenge before challenge number one is how do you get them to talk to you, period? So if you are trying to reach out to these customers to get that content and they're not receptive, what are some tricks of the trade to get them to bite, to then get them engaged to create the content?
Yeah. So that's a great question. A couple of different ways you could do that. So you can always incentivize them with a discount code. We do at Klee have like creator compensation that, again, our team can handle that on their end. We take care of a lot of that for you, or we can, very much be a strategic partner in letting you know how to pay them out. But that's another way that really accelerates the process, because we also not only have those communications, so you're not cold reaching out to some random person, but it also is accelerating it at scale. So A, you could do that. B, like I said, you could do a discount code. C, you could say that your brand will repost what they post, and that, you have X amount of followers or engagement, and that, that could be another push as well. So any levers like that are available to your business, I would recommend leaning into. But again, if you're trying to not just do onesie, twosies photos and you need it at scale, I would definitely look into more of like a user-generated content management platform scenario.
Beautiful. All right, let's talk about the myths.
Okay, so if there's no more questions. So 3 myths. Curious if any of these are hot takes. Would love to hear if anyone has questions about it. But one of the biggest myths that we tend to hear is that, I don't want user-generated content because it's poor quality. Couple of things. A, brands are often surprised that maybe something that is not as pretty of a photo actually does perform better. So again, you just cannot trust your gut. You cannot rely on something subjective. And B, we look at the iPhones that we all have today, and you can very much take a professional looking photo with the iPhone. So not to discount, again, professional photographers, there's a reason and use case for every piece of creative content. But having creators, a large marketplace of them, or working with a creator one-to-one, if they're using an iPhone, most likely they can get really, really good quality photography or video creative to pipe into your different streams and make your brand look really awesome, and repeat that based on your findings. Awesome. Another thing is that UGC isn't scalable. So as I mentioned, that can be true, but it doesn't always have to be one-to-one. It's a lot slower that way. You're not going to get enough creative to actually test and see what's working. Again, there's so many different aspects. So testing what's working within a certain channel, but then also testing what's working across different content types. So photo versus video. There's just a lot of different variables. So it's really down to, oh, this green shirt performed better than the blue shirt. Really important to have what we like to say, fire hose of content. And there are ways to do that. Again, it doesn't have to be through Klee, but there are platforms that can do that. And it's something that you shouldn't let this myth deter you from getting all of that really awesome content. And from one platform, you're not having to go to all of these different places and again, not just the one-off component, but then, running a contest. And this is just a, easy way to do it all at once. Creators and influencers are the same. So this is a really big misconception. There's definitely some overlap here. But I will say that influencers are a lot of times hired when your brand is solely looking for, I mentioned this at the beginning, but that vanity metric of followers. That doesn't necessarily translate into value. You can't actually see how that's moving the needle on your ad spend, on your marketing budget. So they're very much not the same. They can have overlap, but I'd say what a lot of brands are really successful doing in this space, in the e-commerce space, are working with creators that have high engagement and influence. Sometimes that means they have a smaller pool of followers, but they have a lot of traction across those followers. And because of that, you'll get really good, solid quality content. Oops, I have one more. Oh, I guess I went through them all. Okay, I'll pause there. Any questions?
Those are very interesting myths and kind of go against everything that 5-7 years ago was like imagery is everything, high res and
yep.
3D. And granted, yes, imagery is important when you're looking at it from the marketing, from the corporate lens. But when you're looking at this authentic marketing experience, it doesn't matter. As long as it's true, that's what really resonates.
Exactly. Yeah. And I can't iterate enough. You don't have to get rid of those beautiful photos, but my experience is in advertising and marketing, and it was very much, those professional shoots that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and you get like just a couple good assets out of them. And again, those are good, but then also you're definitely seeing that transition of adding that human component, not just the stark white background. That's so product focused.
Absolutely. Going back to the user generated content, taking that in, have you seen brands make it into a story? Is there an opportunity to potentially make it into a story to keep building out that content or reaching out and figuring out the why that user did what they did and play off of that to bring you even more content?
Yes. And let me know if I'm understanding this, like in terms of storytelling for your brand.
Correct.
Very much so. So we definitely find that just like user generated content in general, your consumers, your customers are going to tell that story better than you can. So let's say you're a jewelry provider, really having that, again, representation, authentic, lifelike component, and then being able to tell that across different, whether it's your grid for Instagram or TikTok, you can really build your brand presence. And we've seen tons of brands do this simply by incorporating UGC into your strategy. It's, again, figuring out those goals up front as best you can, and then working that into the strategy and, making sure that it's consistent.
Mm-hmm. it could truly be the gift that keeps on giving. And it's the low cost when looking at marketing content creation.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at, like I mentioned, if you went through, we've even seen some, wild professional photo shoot invoices of, like I said, tens, thousands, hundreds of dollars. Klee, for literally the fraction of the cost, you can get hundreds, like 100, 150 photos, videos, whatever, within 4 to 5 weeks for fraction of the cost of each of our content pieces of assets run from like $45 to $95. And then, like I said, we have that whole marketing consultation. That's huge. So definitely recommend testing that and seeing where you can optimize your marketing budget.
Totally agree. Anna, thank you so much. Fantastic information. Thank you, Klee, for being awesome partners and supporters of the network. I'd say anybody who's on the call, reach out to Anna and team. They have a wealth of information. We're happy to give you the intro, and feel free to reach out to me. We can talk about this. We could talk about anything digital. That's what we do here at BWG Connect. So Tiffany, Tiffany at bwgconnect.com. With that, I'm going to let everybody have good night. Have a wonderful week. Great weekend. Stay safe. Take care. And we will see you on the next event. Thank you so much, Anna.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany. Bye, everyone.